He claimed to be the king of the world, but is Chris Jericho Y2J? King of the NDAs. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling. And Eminem once cleaned out his closet. Maybe it's Jericho's time to clean out his closet. As recently, there's been a lot of allegations coming out against Jericho. He's been called a sex pest. He's been called the real cancer to AEW. And he's even been referred to as the Harvey Weinstein of pro wrestling, which I think is fucking way too far. And Chris Jericho should not only sue, but should also beat the shit out of the guy that called him Harvey Weinstein, or referred to him being Harvey Weinstein, because I don't see it like that. But we're going to look at what has been happening in the world of Chris Jericho, in the world of AEW. A lot of fans recently have been calling for Jericho to be fired. It's been trending, it's been hashtagging, it was even being chanted at AEW World's End, fire Chris Jericho. But the problem is, what exactly are we firing him for? What is he being accused of? Let's look at it. So we know there was a bit of commotion last week with the whole Jim Cornette, CM Punk, Chris Jericho thing. Jericho came out, was talking about NDAs, said he's never signed one, he doesn't know what one is. Jim Cornette fired back at Jericho after Jericho attacked the lawyer of CM Punk, who's also Cornette's lawyer. I believe his name is Stephen P. Stephen P. knew. So Stephen P. knew says that Jericho did sign an NDA. It's in his employer manual. Jericho said he's never done it. And now, someone that was on a podcast with Stephen P. New, I believe he is a small-time wrestling journalist. His name is Nick Hosman. Now, he is from Chicago, and he is supposedly a fan of CM Punk. So maybe it's a case of Jericho attacked Punk, I'll attack Jericho. But this is what he said on a podcast with Stephen P. New. So this is what Nick Hosman had to say on the Rumour and Innuendo podcast. Quote, "There are issues with Chris behind the scenes where I know a lot of people who are hurt by Chris and his actions. You know, it's very uncomfortable to me to see him laud it like he is and only having to focus on that, because I do think there are a lot of questionable stories about Chris Jericho that will find their way out over time, and when people are ready to tell those stories, that will cast him in a very different light. I mean, Harvey Weinstein won a lot of Oscars. Harvey Weinstein produced a lot of very popular films. Harvey Weinstein is now in jail. I'm not saying that is happening to Chris Jericho, but the narrative can quickly turn if you're hiding a lot of skeletons in your closet." So Nick Hosman here comparing Jericho to Harvey Weinstein, which makes fucking zero sense whatsoever. There was then another tweet, and it said the following: "So here's the deal. You don't quit the hottest fed going today, AEW, without reason. I have it from people in the know that Kylie Rae was asked to go to Chris Jericho's room with the understanding that others would be there. When she got there, it was just him. He made a pass at her. No other details are given, and she freaked out." End of quote. So that is a tweet that is going around Twitter, and the tweet is being implied that Kylie Rae 3-4 years ago may have left Chris Jericho, may have left AEW due to Chris Jericho because he made a pass and she wasn't interested. So that is that. There was then another tweet saying, quote, "Sometimes I stop to wonder how many young women out there are wondering if it's safe to post about Chris Jericho yet." And this actually got a reply from Kylie Rae, the wrestler that is said to have quit AEW because of Jericho. And she replied to this whole thing with a heart emoji. Now, after this, Tony Khan was asked last night at the end of the World's End about this. Would Chris Jericho be getting fired? What's the update? And he basically gave the company answer of he can't talk about anything. He's not going to mention anything. There's issues happening behind the scenes, and he's not going to speak on it. So that's what Tony Khan had to say. And now you're going to hear what Fog Wrestling have to say. Look, personally, I think Jericho has become insufferable over the past couple of years, ever since he's joined AEW. To be honest, I think he's just got worse and worse and worse and further up Tony Khan's ass. But there is zero fucking accusations being made against Chris Jericho here. It's just a bunch of tweets. Nobody's come out and said Chris Jericho has A, done anything, or B, that there's any situation that Chris Jericho has placed somebody in. So I don't understand why this is making a big deal. There's no fucking grounds to fire Chris Jericho on anything. How can you fire Chris Jericho because someone has come out with a rumour? The alleged victim hasn't even come out against Jericho here, so why would we be firing Chris Jericho because some guy who does a podcast and is a fan of CM Punk has made an accusation and compared this guy to Harvey Weinstein? Just makes fucking no sense.
It's ridiculous because you look at it, how can you compare him to Weinstein just based off a rumour that he potentially made a pass at someone? What I think will be really intriguing about this, so I really hope Jericho responds to this. I think Jericho responds to absolute jobbers on Twitter. This is a serious accusation, so why wouldn't he respond to this?
Is it really a serious accusation though?
Well, no.
What that Harvey...
It could have serious consequences.
Being compared to Harvey Weinstein, I understand. But the story here is that this person was invited to Jericho's hotel room. He made a pass at her. She rejected him and left.
Yeah, no, but they're insinuating that Jericho's done this before, and he's Le Six Piss.
But isn't that how things go? If you are into someone, you make a move for them. You advance towards. Isn't that what are you supposed to do as a fucking guy? Because it is predominantly men that make the first move. Are you how you don't really know if someone's interested? Because why would a female even be in his hotel room? And I know the argument is here that she was potentially tricked into going, but I'm just not buying
we
that.
don't know the ins and outs, right? Jericho's a married man.
If Chris,
first of all, we're throwing his marriage under the fucking bus if we could even say he even made an attempt to pass that.
Well, Chris Jericho. I don't think Chris Jericho's been faithful, but who cares about that at the end of the day, right? That's between Chris Jericho.
He backed Vince McMahon.
That's true. He did back Vince McMahon. But he probably wouldn't back him now.
Whether or not he's faithful to his wife, that doesn't automatically make him fucking Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, look, if Chris Jericho invited someone to his room and made a pass at them, and the person rejected him and then left, that does not make Chris Jericho. That doesn't make him anything.
Unless, it doesn't. But unless he used his position of power in AEW to demote her for the company through Tony Khan because she rejected him, we don't know.
Now, that's possible.
I think that is possible, but here I don't know hee-haw.
I think that could have happened, but see, can you be fired because of that? That's Tony.
A scummy thing to do.
Yeah, no, that's a scumbag thing.
That's like Ornstein, or that's why the comparison might have been made.
Yeah, but that's Tony.
He made people do stuff to get roles.
Yeah, but that's Tony Khan's fault at the end of the day. Chris Jericho hasn't fired anybody. Chris Jericho's not got the ability to fire anybody.
I know, but as Jericho went to Tony... Well, let's just say hypothetically, as he went to Tony Khan and said, here, I made the pass at her and she jobbed me out, so here, I want her gone. Or he go, here, I don't think Kylie Ray's up to much in the ring or on the mic. She needs to go. She's dead weight. This is the guy that dishes out fucking contracts to anybody.
Now, Tony Khan did say that AEW is the safest place to work and that it's the safest place in wrestling. It's got the best history of being safe.
Just don't go in the ring.
Although... Yeah, don't go in the ring or you'll walk out with an injury. This is also
the ring or Jericho's hotel room. Don't go anywhere.
This is also the guy that said he was fearing for his life when a certain Phil Brooks was there about 6 months ago.
Safe.
Tony Khan came out and said that the following when asked if Chris Jericho was under any internal investigation. He said, quote, I can't speak to internet and unsourced rumours. I spoke earlier to Kevin and mentioned the policy we have in place and the disciplinary process. We've always followed that and I believe it's the safest wrestling company in the world and we have the best track record for safety. I would hold it up to anybody, and anytime anybody has any kind of a complaint, they have an open door to say it to me or anyone in the office. We would look into it any time. End of quote. He then went on to say that he can't speak about anything else. He won't speak about Jericho, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, look, Chris Jericho, it is a bit hypocritical if he's saying things about an NDA and then there's been people that have signed NDAs so they can't speak about him. But we don't know. There's no proof. This Kylie Ray has done absolutely nothing but, leave a heart emoji. That's you need a statement. You need something. You can't just leave a heart emoji and then that means that what everyone else is is true.
But then if they're talking about NDAs, maybe she's been forced into signing ones, can't speak about it, and her way of communicating is through a heart emoji.
Possibly. Who knows?
Personally, I can't. You can't make a condemnation until you fucking know the facts. See, unless Jericho comes out or she comes out. But then if they've both signed NDAs, we'll never know. But the NDAs are a load of pish. Be fucking men. Grow a fucking set and say what happened. Same with the Punk incident. Fucking signing a bit of paper, signing your soul away. Fucking speak about it. So we can talk about it.
Speak about it so we can talk about it. Anyway, guys, that's it. Look, if Chris Jericho simply made a pass at this person, then I don't think that's the... I don't think that's the end of the world. I don't think he deserves to be fired because of that. Because let's be honest, you said about Harvey Weinstein and comparing him to Chris Jericho and saying that some guys will use their power. And I'm not denying that, right? But let's not pretend that there's some women as well that won't sell sex in order to be more successful in their career. And how come they are never held to the same standards? How come they're never held to the same criticism? Just because Kylie Rae might not be one of those people, let's not pretend that there's not women in wrestling that have slept their way to the top.
Yeah.
But women that sleep their way to the top don't seem to be held accountable for their actions. But a man that would be willing to help a woman get pushed to the top for sex is deemed to be some sort of horrible bastard.
Well, look at the state of wrestling fans, man. They pretend about women equality and their matches are just as good as the men. So obviously they're going to side with Kylie Rae over fat, flabby, 53-year-old Chris Jericho. Not really too surprised about that. But here, I'd like to hear.
No, but even like with Harvey Weinstein, did a lot of women not sleep with him to get to where they were? Then they complained about it later.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't think you have a leg to stand on if that's the case.
And I think when I compared them to Jericho, it's more of a case I think Jericho might have just got rejected and then simply got her fired. I don't think Jericho went here, sleep with me, or I'm getting you fired. I think there was a difference there. But with Weinstein, he was more upfront about it. But here, we don't even know about Jericho. We don't even know if this is true. It's hypotheticals, man. I don't like Jericho these days, but I'm not going to throw him under the bus. He beat Rock and Austin the same night.
Yeah, for me.
Kylie Rae do that?
No.
She made a pass at them.
Who's Kylie Rae ever beat?
Nobody.
Anyway, guys, there you go. Let us know your thoughts. If anything else happens, then. But, like I said, with the NDAs and Tony Khan not saying anything, then who knows? Probably no more news on this bad boy.
It probably has him sweating, though. I'd say that.
Tony Khan.
I didn't sweat.
Would Prince Andrew sweat?
It was Pizza Express.
Damn. Anyway, till next time. Peace.